And today we are honored to welcome Chris Singleton into our News 2 studio. Chris is a former professional athlete who's transformed his personal tragedy into a powerful message of hope, love, and resilience, following the murder of his mother, Sharonda Coleman Singleton, and 8 others in the racially motivated mass shooting at Mother Emanuel. Well, Chris has become a nationally renowned inspirational speaker and best-selling author. Recognizing the 10-year anniversary of his mother's death, Chris has written a beautiful new children's book entitled Love Your Neighbor, and it's inspired by his mother's unwavering kindness and compassion. In this book, Chris says serves as both a heartfelt tribute to her life and an important message for children about empathy, community, and love. And I think not only for children, but for adults as well. Chris Singleton, good to see you in the studio.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we're so glad that you are here. And Chris, first of all, how are you? How are you and your beautiful growing family? There are now 3 little Singletons, right?
I'm doing well. We're all doing well. So yeah, 3 little kids. I call my baby girl my grand finale baby because hopefully that's it. But everybody's good. I'm just excited about this new book, and hopefully parents will read it to their little ones.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. So Chris, you talk about the fact that you were inspired by your mother's life. Tell us more about why you decided to write this book.
Yeah, I think my mom was always pretty clear on how we should love people, right? Regardless of where they're from, regardless of what they look like, regardless of their first language, loving everybody. And I know parents agree with me and my mom on that message. And so being able to read this story to their kids is definitely a way that we can drive it home.
We think about in the days and weeks after the tragedy at Mother Emanuel, and we saw on so many different platforms stories and pictures and videos of your mother being your biggest cheerleader. She was always at your side. And this is exactly the kind of thing that we are seeing in terms of how you emulate and how you're raising your own family and what you talk about in the book.
Yeah, I think every parent, a huge compliment is when you say, man, this kid's raised the right way. And so the way that I live my life, I hope people will say that. And hopefully one day when my kids are, get older and they have their own families, people will say, man, this little guy or this little one, they were raised the right way. And so writing's been a huge way for me to kind of give back and also spread that love my mom showed me.
I love your writing, but I also love hearing your voice as well. Chris, as we approach the 10th commemoration of the tragedy at Mother Emanuel, and I know that you do hundreds of speaking engagements, what are the stories that you share with children in a delicate way so that they understand while not losing the impact and the seriousness of what happened June 17, 2015?
Yeah, that one's a little tricky because with young kids, I don't always tell them the gory details about my personal story, right? Even in this book, it's talking about loving your neighbor, whether they have a skin that's a little bit, darker or lighter, or hair that's a little looser or tighter, right? Everybody deserves love. And so I don't always get into the details of losing my mom the way that I did, but I do say, my mom gave me this message to share with you guys here today. And so that's kind of how I share with little ones.
And that's already a lesson for parents or for anyone who has contact with children. They don't necessarily need all the details to understand the message.
Yeah, I feel like with little kids, you want them to continue to think the world is all sunshine and rainbows and full of just hope and love, which it is. And so we don't always have to talk about the negatives to really push forward the positives that we want to share with this message of love and unity with our kids. So I'm excited about it. It's another story that I think is super impactful, and I can't wait for people to read it to the little ones.
This is not your first time with that title, author, being applied to you. You have other books as well.
I do. I've written, I think this is my 5th children's book.
Wow. Well, you have to think about that. I don't.
Yeah. Well, I've tried to release one every year since 2020, and so it gives me a way to I always try to release it around the same date of, it could be a sad day when I lost my mom, and so it gives me something to look forward to, right? And trying to be the opposite of my mother's killer, right? He had a mission of hatred and division. My mission is about love and unity. So just trying to be the opposite of that, and I'm just so grateful that people in this community and across the country have supported that mission.
It will certainly happen. So how will you, as we approach that day, how will you recognize that day with your own family? Are there special things that you do?
Yeah, so obviously being around my family, we've got commemoration events going on at the church. I'll be sharing along with Pastor Manning and some other impactful people on that date. But I think just being around family, anytime there's could be a sad day coming up, being around my family and making sure that people know, hey, this is what I'm doing to honor my family members and my church family as a whole. So I try to keep the sad feelings to the side for a little while and just celebrate the life of my mom and the other heroes that were unfortunately taken away.
You most certainly do. You're such an example of it, and we appreciate it.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
Rob, he's still in the gym, too. I don't know if former baseball player is actually appropriate here.
No
All right,
doubt.
Chris, always good to see you, and I know I'll have an opportunity to speak with you in more detail as we get a little bit closer to that date. All right, Rob, we are going to send it right back to you on the other side of the studio.